Hey y'all, welcome to Fixin' the Garden. It's a little dreary outside, and so I thought I would come up with this kind of a different video than I typically do, in which I'm going to show y'all how to do a DIY fountain, and it's going to be an arrangement all in one. So something for the gardener lovers in your life. This is going to be a great gift, or something you may want to add to your landscape. Something missing in our landscape is some type of little water feature. Water's very cooling, it's relaxing, it's all the things that you want it to be. So I hope that you'll stick around and see how we put that together. In order to do this project today, you're going to need a couple of supplies, so I'll go ahead and list those out so you can run to the store and gather them and maybe check back in with us and do the project with us. You're going to need a container of some sort. You can decide what you would like, if you want it to be matching of other ones in your landscape or something different. This is just a plastic one that we had. It is double walled, which makes it a little bit stronger than maybe a single wall plastic. So I recommend that at the very least. Of course, you can use any kind of concrete or whatever else. You're going to need a terracotta pot. So this is one we picked up. You're going to need, this is just a saucer that we're going to use in order to put our fountain in. We did end up getting a solid surface saucer. We had thought about getting a plastic one that would work as well, but this one's a little more heavy duty. We thought it would be good to help with algae and stuff, possibly to keep it easier to clean because it's got this slick coating on it, and it's pretty. This is a solar powered fountain that we got just off Amazon. I'll put the link down below, and it has these little stabilizers to kind of help it get snug into our saucer. So we measured these things out before we went and shopped for our saucer, and we also measured out kind of the circumference of our pot versus the circumference of the dish that we wanted, and we chose a terracotta pot that would be the correct size based on the saucer that we picked out. So you may want to think all of those things through depending on, you know, what kind of plants that you want to add to your pot. But at the very least, you need to know what size your solar fountain is, because you want to make sure that your saucer fits in the fountain. Now, you don't have to have these little guides in. You can take those out if you want something smaller in circumference. So that's something to think about. Just look on Amazon and the specifics. It'll tell you what size everything is that you need to know. All right, so we're going to begin by filling up our pot, of course, with potting soil. And we're going to nestle this terracotta pot down in the soil. We kind of filled it up partial way, and this is the reason why. We are going to use this terracotta pot, and we're going to flip it over. And terracotta is great because of how it deals with moisture, to help keep this pot a little bit more moisturized, which will be great in that full sun spot that it's getting. But it's also, we're using this as our support for our fountain plate. So then it's going to come right on top and sit just like so, and we're going to put the fountain in here. But my husband had a good idea. We both know that as soil sits in containers, it's going to compact some because of additional moisture, and all is going to cause the potting mix to go down, and we don't want that to happen and then leave the pot going down too far. So my husband took a peony ring support and just kind of bent it up into a circle, and now it's going to give some additional support to the terracotta pot. We don't know if this will work or not, but this is what we're going to try to do, and you can decide for yourself if that's something that you want to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the terracotta pot on, and then we're going to fill in the rest of this with potting soil. We have all the soil in here now. All right, so now I'm going to put in some Osmocote plant food. It's a slow release fertilizer in order to just give these plants a little extra juice, because they are annuals and are big time bloomers, and we want them to have the food that they need. And then I'm just going to take my fingers and just kind of get it to go down in the soil a little bit. The next thing we're going to do is plant up our plants. Y'all, this is my favorite part. This is Luscious Royal Cosmo Lantana from Proven Winners. And y'all, I did it again. It's this really bright pink color that I normally stay away from, but I'm feeling it this year. And so I'm going to put in a little bit more into our garden in order to add that really bold, bright color that all of a sudden I'm really all about. So the dimensions for these is they're 12 to 26 inches tall, and they're about 24 inches wide. So they're going to fill up quite a bit. I'm going to pack this planter out as well, something that I don't typically do either, but hey, I am all about trying some new things, right? So hopefully y'all are too, but pick whatever annual color that you think that you would like to see. Lantana's great because it enjoys all of the heat that we are going to be getting here in Georgia 8B, and so it's a good pick. That's the reason why I decided. I didn't have any lantana in my yard anywhere, and I really love the long-lasting blooms and the carefree nature of it. So we're going to have 3 of these. This is Monrovia Spotlight Black Ornamental Potato Vine. And as y'all know, potato vines are trailing. It likes semi-moist water. It's 12 to 18 inches high and 24 to 36 inches wide. We're going to put this planter is going to have a front and a back for my purposes. If y'all don't need a front and a back, or you need to put it in a place that you can see all around, you may want to choose your plants and do like in every other one so that the color and it looks the same from all the different angles. But I'm going to have a front and a back. So we're going to have those. All right, and the last plant we're going to have here, this is Silver Dusty Miller that I grew from seed, using seed from Swallowtail Nursery. And so we're going to put those in, and it's going to be kind of in the back. None of these plants are super high. They're all about a 12 to 18 inch in height, and I wanted that because I want to be able to see the fountain. It doesn't have to be very prominent, but if you want it to be prominent, you know, pick lower growing shrubs. You may want to do something like marigold or something like superbena, that may be something that's more of a 6 or 8 inch height. So let's get planting. So I'm going to do every other one here in the front with the sweet potato vine and the lantana. I want the lantana, I always try to think of the pot as a clock. So I'm going to put the lantana at 6 o'clock here in the middle, and I'm just going to go around from that. But that'll get me thinking things symmetrically. So it's going to look something like that, and then like I said, we're going to take the Dusty Miller and put it along the back side. Now also, when I go to plant these, I'm going to plant as close to the edge or the outer rim of the pot as possible in order to give our plate a little bit more room. But just make sure that you have some potting mix in between your plant and the container. And it would probably help, and I haven't done it, to pre-moisten your soil because of that. Again, y'all, my husband is full of really great ideas, and he said, hey, let's get the wagon and put the pot in the wagon, because as we put all this stuff in, it's going to get heavy, and that way it's not so hard to move. It also makes for a really great stand to help show y'all what we're doing. Also, make sure there's a good amount of soil or adequate amount of soil in between your 2 plants. If you're going to plant it in, that they aren't touching, their root balls aren't touching each other. And y'all know I'm a messy gardener, so you'll see me slinging some dirt around. That's just how I am. All I'm doing is throwing some dirt in between those root balls, making sure that I get around the edge. I really want those to go down in there a little bit more. Because what you don't want to do, and I've made that mistake this season already, is I've planted things a little bit too high. Then when I go to water, it's not really getting down in there, it's just running off the top. So you want your plants to kind of be down in the pot a little bit. And the plant that I showed y'all, I don't know of the lantana if it really demonstrated enough, but this Royal Cosmo lantana, it's got like a variegation of yellow to pink in it, so hopefully y'all can see that really good. And I think that's so pretty. Again, just trying to go back through and make sure that I have that soil potting mix in between each of the plants and down between the plant and the edge of the container. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit more soil in here because I used a lot of this over here to fill up this other side. We're using Fox Farms Ocean Forest, mostly because that's what we had already opened. Now these get, again, about 12 to 18 inches tall. So I'm hoping that they are gonna be seen still in the back here. But these are gonna be super easy to plant because they're very tiny still. It'll be fun to get to watch them grow in. I highly recommend, if you are new to sowing seed like I am, I recommend this Dusty Miller. It's very easy to germinate. And I think that it's maybe a little bit hardy here in our area, so it maybe would even perennialize. I think it's 8 to 11 maybe. I'm finding myself getting a little further away from the edge, so I need to make sure I remind myself to get close to the edge because the saucer's not in yet, and I can't forget that I have to leave room for it to be in here as well. Last one. All right, so we have them all in, and now we're gonna go and put in your saucer and the fountain portion of the planter. All right, so we're just gonna take this saucer and kind of nestle it in here amongst the plants. And because we use that terracotta pot, that's what's perching the saucer above the plants and above the soil. Then we're just gonna fill this up with water, y'all. It's really cloudy today, so I'm not sure this is gonna work, but we'll make sure that we put in some video at the end once the sun has come out. So you're just gonna put this in, make sure that your pump here at the bottom is covered in water. So you wanna make sure your saucer's deep enough for that. And then it has all kinds of different tips that you can attach to the top here in order to create different water patterns. So your choice, but as you can see, the circumference of the saucer is just perfect for the circumference with the stabilizers on this water fountain. So something I don't know about yet, but I've thought about is that we may need to add a little bit of the mosquito dunk in here. I know if water is moving, can't have mosquito eggs, but it's big time mosquito season for us, and I don't want that to be an issue. So I may put some in there. I just don't know if it'll disrupt the pump at all. So I'll have to let y'all know how that goes with the check-in on this planter as the season goes on. All right, so we picked up these bird bath copper discs. They're supposed to help with algae and bird bath. So I'm gonna put one in here, and I'm gonna put one in our bird bath after we pressure wash it, because it's already pretty yuck even after a few months. So here is our container all in. The Lantana, just so y'all know, if you don't, the butterflies love Lantana. And I'm hoping that these sweet potato vines kind of come down the front of this pot, because I don't really love how bright the gray is. That's why I don't use this one too much. So I'm hoping that the sweet potato vine will kind of help camouflage the pot a little bit. And then of course, hopefully the Dusty Miller in the back are gonna give a great contrast. All right, and now our bird bath, freshly pressure washed. We have the copper plate in there and a little bit of a mosquito dunk. Y'all, if you don't know about mosquito dunks, you should get some if you have standing water anywhere in your landscape. That comes in a loose granule application as well. But for But for bird baths and things like this, put it in there and it stays activated for I think a month, and it just gradually dissolves and you replace it. So super easy, a great way to help mosquitoes be at bay a little bit within your control. Let's check back in with our fountain. All right, so even on a cloudy day, it's working. And of course, from eye level, it may look something like that. And it has different tips that you could put on it for different types of spraying that you would like to have, but this one's perfect for me. And y'all, this easy DIY water fountain, I hope it brings a little bit of joy to your life if you decide to go forward with it. I think I'm going to enjoy it a whole lot. And we'll see y'all real soon.